Welcome to This Oughta Be Good. I'm DJ Mordecai. This is episode 22. I am joined by my guest, Homeboy Sandman. What's up, Homeboy Sandman?
What up, Mordecai? How's it going down, man?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing great, man. Good to see you.
So you just wrapped up your latest tour. Have you recovered?
I'm still in kind of rejuvenation phase, my boy Isaac Sawyer is having a video release party tonight, and I
Oh,
had to
okay.
head to say I might come through, but I'm still kind of in recuperative mode. I just
Mm-hmm.
got back 2 days ago. I just completed earlier today. I completed my second round of sleep at home, so
Mm-hmm.
and the first day I was sleeping the whole day, so take
How
a
long
little
were you?
time. But
How long were you
huh?
on tour? You were on tour most of the year, or you took like a break, or?
Well, I've done a good amount of touring this year, but the last this trip that I just took right now, I was on the road for about a month. I guess I left on the 12th, got back on the 10th, so just under a
Mm-hmm.
month. Um, but it's I've done a lot of. It's been a great year, thank God.
Mm-hmm. I was curious. I've seen some interviews and read some interviews, but I didn't see too much on like early hip hop influences for you. Like, what were some of those?
Shoot, I really loved Jazzy Jeff and the Fresh Prince. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? In 1987, he's DJ I'm the Rapper is the first album I knew front to back.
Mm.
Then I love Black Thought from the Roots crew. You know what I mean? LL Cool J was, I was a big LL Cool J fan as a kid. You know what I mean? Got into
Mm.
Slick Rick as a kid for sure. Big Daddy
Mm.
Kane as a kid. Love
Mm.
De La Soul. You know what I mean? Got into
Mhm.
Tribe. Um, those are a few that made a big difference.
Was
In my
was your
formative years.
family go ahead.
In my formative years. Go ahead.
Was your family influential like in your interest in music or?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Very influential. My father's a big music fan, and he was into hip hop, and he early hip hop. You know what I mean? Grandmaster Flash. He was playing in the house, but he was also playing salsa. He was also playing jazz. He was also playing, you know, freestyle music at the time, or he played all types of music. So my father put me on a Portishead. You know what I mean? When I was a
Mm.
kid. So my father, had a rich, musical, classical music, all types of music was in the house. So
Mhm.
so definitely was influential.
Were they born and raised in New York or?
They were, my father was born in Dominican Republic and got
Okay.
to New York around the fifth grade, whatever the age is then. My mother was born in Puerto Rico, but got to New York when she was a baby. So, they both spent a lot of time in New York. Mom's more so, but yeah, yeah, they New Yorkers.
Cool. So you're a prolific artist, and I've seen, like I said, you've given a good number of interviews in like written and video formats. I watched the one with the Almanac of Rap with Don Will and
Mhm.
Hot 97 with Peter Rosenberg. Are you like a prolific interviewee too? And I was curious, like, if so, like, why is that? Is it just promoting as sort of an independent artist, or is there more to it?
Um, I just think if somebody reaches out to say let's chop it up, I'm always grateful for people helping spread the word for sure. So
Hmm.
so I think if I'm capable of getting up and chopping it up,
Yeah,
I'm prone to take the opportunity to. You know what I'm saying?
gotcha. The Carpenter was played in the Olympics as part of like the b-boy competition. Shout out
Yeah,
to
yeah, yeah.
DJ Flegg. Were you
Word up.
watching, or did anyone point that out to you?
I wasn't watching, but then everybody in my phone pointed out to me. So.
What were your thoughts on that? Any?
My thoughts of just God is great. It's pretty fascinating, looking at my experience. I'm somebody that, makes a point of not engaging in things that might be distracting, you know what I mean?
Mm.
I really look to just focus on cultivating my creation a great deal, and there's always lots of times there's people, warning about the pitfalls of not getting caught up in distraction. You know what I mean?
Mm.
But time after time, these amazing miracles happen to me that just, um, I mean, the carpenter was introduced to the whole world. You know what I mean? And there's been great, that led to a bunch of great things. And the thing about it is just, that's my whole life is a there's this phrase, don't believe in miracles, depend on them.
Mm.
So me, I'm definitely dependent on miracles, and they keep occurring.
Did you know that it was like a b-boy? I don't know if I would say classic necessarily, but maybe anthem. Like, did you know that it was being played at a lot of jams?
I did know that.
Mm.
DP1, big shout to him. They got those Red Bull competitions,
Hmm.
dancing
Hmm.
competitions. So
Hmm.
I know that he was DJing. This is some time ago. One of those, the finals or something. And he kind of broke that record, and I credit him with breaking that record in the DJ community. This is years ago. Um, but since then, people have I've seen a lot of videos of people, dancing to it in different events and different, big events, around
Yeah.
the world, you know what I mean? And I do recognize, like, just that, like, I make lots of music, and you know, and I wind up reaching people in all different types of ways, you know. But the Carpenter, has been, I can feel uh, uh, the reverberations of it, throughout the global uh, b-boy, b-girl, population. Is pretty cool.
Hmm. Hmm. I do want to stick on the Carpenter just for one more second, and I don't want to take too much time on it. But you have a line about reading Dostoevsky. Don't mean I read Tolstoy.
Mm.
I love that line, and I'm sure many others. It look like a lot of
Mhm.
journalists kind of dig that one too. Is
Mhm.
it true that you don't read Tolstoy, or you just thought it was like a fly line?
Well, I haven't read any Tolstoy, you know, but I'm open to reading Tolstoy. I don't have no anti-Tolstoy sentiment,
Hmm. Hmm.
Um, I like a lot of Russian. Dag, I forget the cat's name, but it's over there. I read this, I get up, the Master and Margarita. You ever
Mm-mm.
heard of that book? Dag, I
Mm-mm.
guess I got to get up and let you know. While we're on the Russian literature tip,
Hmm.
this cat's name, I read this book. It was amazing. Mikhail Bulgakov. Mikhail Bulgakov.
Hmm. Okay.
Um, I read that recently, and that was flavor. So, but big shouts to Dostoevsky. I tried to listen on audiobook to on this last tour to Anna, Karenina, but that didn't work out. I wanted to listen to some Stephen King joint instead, but
Hmm.
didn't finish that. But yeah, I want to read. I love reading. I want to read it all.
Who did the painting behind you? Just out of curiosity.
This was an artist named Jocelyn Good. Yeah, we have two of her pieces in our home. We have another one over next to the bathroom. That's that. Yeah,
Oh.
that's the flavor.
Hmm.
Um, Jocelyn Good. I forget what her website is, but she also did the artwork for me for a uh, for a single I did that was just called a dollar sign. The
Hmm.
song was just called a dollar sign. It was a
You
song I
got a
did.
video for that one too, right?
Got a video for that one. Yeah,
Mhm.
she wasn't involved in the video, but when I first released a song, it was just like this big stone dollar sign in the midst of all this beautiful, she whipped that up. Yeah, Jocelyn Good. She's a sensational artist.
New York based, or?
Yeah. She's from Queens. We actually know each other from childhood. Um, Now she does a lot of things. Now she started like the museum of like of roller skating, like the
Okay.
she gets it popping multiple ways.
That's what's
Jocelyn Good, yeah.
I don't know if you've seen the Still Bill, like the Bill Withers documentary, which is great by the way if you haven't seen it. But
I see that, but I
you
love Bill
remember,
Withers.
if I'm remembering correctly, it shows him like kind of piecing lyrics together, like phrases on napkins, sort of kind of thing. Like,
Mhm.
what is your writing process?
I'm always writing. I finished actually earlier today. Did I finish a verse and change? Oh, no. Earlier today, I wrote about 12 bars and a hook for a jam called Daily Bread. That's gonna, I don't know when it's gonna drop, but I just finished it as fly.
Hmm.
And I wrote that while I was running up and down these stairs. It's getting colder, so I do a lot of cardio in the winter just to stay warm.
Hmm.
But and then while I was walking over, because I had to go, while I was on tour, I clipped the side view mirror, not paying attention. I had to go to pick up the car from the mechanic. And while I was walking over there, I wrote about 4 bars of this new jam that I'm cooking up with another producer. So I'm always, like, I generally though, like, I mean, Bill Withers was writing his jams, before he just had the phone, he could throw it in the notes, So I
Hmm.
mean, before I could just throw it in the notes, I'd always carry my book with me, and I always would, write down the rhymes in my book at all times. I always have my book with me. Now I'll throw it in the phone. But as far as always working, yeah, not working, because it definitely ain't work. But as far as always writing,
Hmm.
I'm always doing that all throughout the day.
Hmm. How do you approach writing, like when you're like in a good place mentally versus like when you're kind of going through like maybe personal challenges, or is there
Well,
any difference?
even it's a I recently wrote a song called Little Boy, um, which deals with a lot of just kind of stupid things that I picked up and sometimes manifest themselves. You know what I mean? I had you know I was feeling kind of embarrassed really about some stuff I was dealing with, and but it makes that's one of the great things about being an artist. You know what I mean? For me is having that outlet. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So it really does provide a silver lining. The fact that, like, you know there are all different types of challenges. The one from the other day was relatively mild, more just like a you know dealing with the old wounds of childhood. But really, I'm yet to come across anything, great or small, um, that it doesn't help to at least make some art out of it. And I really find that as sometimes I could think of times when I felt really really down, and but I always like put I'm turning this into art, so it's meaningful.
Hmm. On NPR's Snap Judgment, you had a story about Jermaine Dupri's Tag Records battle in Rucker Park, and the court clerk telling not to give up before the
Mm,
competition.
mm,
It seemed almost like a moment of like divine intervention. Looking
yeah.
back,
Yeah.
do you think that was like a turning point for you? And like, how do you view moments like these, like in your career now?
Well, I mean, I don't know if it was a turning point, but it was definitely another example of don't believe in miracles, depend on them. You know what I mean? Because I was already going all out at that time, and had already started to have a bunch of miracles. That particular miracle that afforded me, you know, 6 extra months in the apartment I was staying at, was really breathtaking, and made for a great story.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but you know, divine intervention, that's I don't even look at things are normally happening and divine intervention takes place sometimes. Like, to me, it's all laid out in a divine way. You know what I mean? The creator's always at play, as my boy Yoke says.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I'm excited to see, and what it makes me excited for the day. I don't know what's gonna happen today. You know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean? I really don't
Hmm.
have no idea, but I'll be writing.
You mentioned like going for broke as a mindset, especially like in your early days. Can you talk about how that mindset has like maybe evolved over the years, and like what risks you've taken in your career that have paid off, even if they seem kind of crazy at the time?
Yeah, yeah. When I think of going for broke, first of all, on a financial side of things, money's for spending. It ain't for saving. Um, I don't never want to allow, I make a point of never allowing money to be a reason why I don't do something. I see people, if money's going to be anything at all, it should be a reason to do something, never a reason not to do something. So it really bugs me out, and I myself will not partake in having enough money to do something and not doing that because I want to save that money. You know what I mean? Dag, I would do that, but it costs so much money, and for me, that's not so. So that's going for broke. You know what I mean? Like, you know, I started Dirty Looks. You know what I mean? I'm, 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 I worked with labels before that pay for the videos, they pay for the manufacturing of the vinyl, they pay. There's a lot of okay, I'm gonna front that now. You know what I mean? And oh, that's gonna be a whole lot of expenditure. It's different than getting in advance and then somebody else do all that. But that's okay because I want to do things my way. You know what I mean? So that's part of it. But also, like, I got a rhyme that says nothing safer than risk. Truth is stranger than fiction. You know what I mean? And you know, people all the time, have things to say about how I move, because it doesn't seem to them particularly, I don't know, strategically sound or whatever, as they look at the I don't know, the landscape of music or something like that. I
Hmm.
don't really think of these things as risk though. I mean, the only risk is doing something that is inauthentic, because that is what would stall my creative, juices. You know what I mean? Like, the only thing that could go wrong is me, slowing up my creative momentum. Like, that's what I have to avoid happening. You know what I mean? As
Hmm.
long as I'm generating, you know, creative momentum and magic and staying in touch with God, staying in touch with source, nothing can really go wrong. So I'll do anything to keep that intact, you know. But I think people look at risk differently. I mean, I think people are talking about different things when they talk about risk, when they talk about success. You know what I mean? Um, so go for broke is basically, leave it all out there. Don't be afraid. Don't look down. I got a video called "Don't Look Down" and a song called "Don't Look Down." Like, don't worry about what could go wrong. That ain't gonna get you nowhere. You know what I'm saying? There's different ways of living life. You could live on a avoidance of the worst case scenario system, which is pretty prevalent, or you could live on a looking to cultivate a best case scenario, and you ain't never going to get the best case scenario if you live in to avoid the worst case. Maybe you'll avoid the worst case, but you ain't never going to get the best case. The only way you're going to get the best case is if you go for that. And I think it's worth it.
Hmm. Hmm. Yeah, appreciate that.
You know?
You described like how your music reflects like personal and spiritual growth. How do you see your own like evolution as an artist? Like, had a long, you know, career so far. How have
Yeah,
things
yeah.
changed for you?
I've been making music for a long time. I think there used to be a lot of immaturity in my music. A lot of kind of ego. Not to say that there isn't. I mean, there's definitely immaturity and ego still involved, but I feel like I've been able to identify a lot of, bravado, machismo, misogyny, just different things that really plague hip hop a lot, but and plague, you know, um, society a lot. Um, that I feel I've been able to move away from. I've become a lot more comfortable being myself. I've become a lot more comfortable. Um, you know, uh, 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 not being as much concerned about reception or anything like that, tying into the last question, but the primary concern being authentic expression. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
If the expression is authentic, then everything else will take care of itself. Um, I also, as far as my capabilities, I'm now somebody who's written not most days for the last 15, 16, 17 years. So I'm very much in shape as far as writing. You know what I mean? Like,
Mm-hmm.
there's one book talks about the 10,000 hours. I didn't put it 50,000. I don't know how many hours I put. I put all the hours in. You know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying?
Mm-hmm.
But I recognize the difference now. Like, you know, I can challenge myself. I have a great deal of confidence now that I can do whatever it is that I want to do. Um, Creative wise, within my medium, which is
Mm-hmm.
which is
Mm-hmm.
music and writing lyrics and creating flows. um I'm feeling very good, so that combined with the growth of coming more into my own. And you know there's you could pinpoint, like, not removing vulgarity from my jams, and removing, like, um there's different things like that are more easy to pinpoint. But all in all, I think of myself, just as a much more experienced I'm just a much more experienced person now, and I also
Mm-hmm.
recognize the power of what it is I do a great deal now. And it isn't anything to take lightly,
Mm-hmm.
and it's so yeah.
Don will mentioned you know you got a lot of videos too, music videos. I just watched one after watching you and Decca and was it Rich Mason
Randy Mason.
freestyle on sorry
Randy Mason.
Randy Mason, sorry, yep,
Mm-hmm.
on Rap is Out of Control, and Eclipse mentioned the Night Creatures video, which I liked, so I
Mm-hmm.
watched that, and then other songs that I like besides the Carpenter, like Learning, Big Band Theory, Ask Anyone, which I think is a like an MF Doom tribute, right? And then
That's tribute with Ace Rock, no doubt.
I really like M Slago and Aesop.
Oh
Heard
yeah,
right with you on that one.
yeah, no doubt. My boy
Um,
M. Slagle, he did a whole record. We did a whole record together called "We Are Here Now." That
mhm,
song is on.
yeah.
And M. Slagle, I've been making music with for a long time. He's amazing.
So knowing you have such a deep catalog and knowing those are some of my favorites, like what else would you recommend that I like kind of dig into? Like if those are some like
Um, did you? Well, you didn't mention the Lice joints. You know the last. Have you listened to the Lice joints?
a little bit, yeah. But I can
Yeah,
sink my teeth further into them.
yeah.
I
Checking
got
out the
I got
Lice joints.
your whole discography kind of, or at least like selected discography queued up for us to kind of walk through. But I was just curious, based on like kind of my taste, like
Oh,
which is
right,
more
right, right.
like boom bap classic, hip hop
All right.
based. But
I mean,
I love
well,
you.
you mentioning that Heard Right joint with me and Ace. Because Slago actually he produced a Lice joint called Panacea.
Mhm,
Um, and the light stuff, I think you'll be in a couple things. I think you'll be in the Yoo-Hoo. I think you'll be in the oatmeal cookies and a lot of the light jams. Um, but based off, you know, I think also the mixtapes. I would just as I'm thinking of, I think you'll love it all. But
mhm,
based off the joints you bring up, the mixtape series with the I can't sell these either, and nor can these be sold at least by me.
mhm.
Um, I would feel pretty confident that you would rock with those as well.
Appreciate it. So, like I said, uh, you got such a vast catalog. I call it the selected discography, mostly focused on the albums, especially solo.
Mm.
I was curious with Nourishment, how many did you make of the first like EP? Like I know you like kind of
Man.
did like second helpings later, but
Yeah, that's crazy that I haven't even seen that picture and that EP cover in so long. But um, I can't really remember. I was working with this crew of cats called themselves Sepa at the time, and they helped press up the initial run. Even it was a couple hundred CDs, slim case. Um, and then I remember we pressed some more, but of that actual one we may never press because then we did Nourishment Second Helpings, which was the 9 songs on that plus 5 new songs, which become the first full length.
mhm,
But of this, I don't know how many of those are. There might be 100, maybe 200. I say at the most
mhm,
out there.
mhm. I was just curious.
Mm.
It seemed pretty limited. And then actual factual pterodactyl, which is a dope.
Pterodactyl. Yeah, good looking out. Those we pressed more of. There was because we actually pressed those CDs ourselves, and I think we might have started off with maybe like a few hundred for sure. At least, I mean, obviously 300 at least. Um, but we had a typo on them, and on the spine it actually says actual factual pterodactyl. So if you're somebody with one of those, that's a pretty limited edition. And then we re-released that record physically with Fat Beats. So
Mhm,
they pressed up some new CDs. I think we might have did 500 CDs and 500 vinyl.
mhm.
Um, and those are all gone too now at this point. So
Yeah, I saw that. Is there a difference between Boy Sand Industries and Dirty Looks?
yeah, I mean, Boys and Industries is just Dirty Looks is the evolution of Boys and Industries. You know what I mean?
And then the Good Son CD, clear vinyl, High Water Music, 2010.
Yeah, that's actually it said how it's on the record. There's that's a Boys and Industries release. It's actually not High Water Music.
Okay.
I had to make a choice of slowing everything up and changing the art. It was gonna come out on High Water Music, or just having to say High Water Music, even though it was an independent release.
Mhm.
But the Good Son, yeah, we had 500 of those. I know we had 500 and 500 on a vinyl. And are we still talking about how many get pressed up? Or we
You
had a
can,
lot.
you
Yeah,
can. I'm
yeah,
more curious, about the
yeah.
stories or
Well, I mean,
any
yeah,
thoughts or reflections
yeah.
on it. But
Oh,
yeah,
okay. Well, we had a lot of those. Yeah, those that record. Or actually, Pterodactyl, like I said, we wound up doing a deal with Fat Beats because it picked up pretty good steam, and my first record, the first EP that you put up, like, I think my influences were very Audible at the time. I think you could listen to that, tell I was a Eminem fan, tell I was a Black Thought fan, tell I was a Big Pun fan. You know what I
Mhm,
mean?
mhm,
And that goes for if you listen to the full length, that became Nourishment Second Helpings. I think that by the time you get to Pterodactyl, I'm starting to flush things out and really come up with a lot of my own sound, have my own fun. Jams like Mambo Telltales, jams like The Big Bang Theory, jams like Opium. You know what I mean?
mhm,
Um, I'm starting to look for ways to be creative in my own way, jams like and then by the time you get to The Good Son, I spent a lot of time, having fun. I mean, Good Son was very fun too, but I was able to, I had found myself more and was able to be a little bit more polished. So I had moved away from a lot of my influences, even though still definitely haven't learned from masters. Um, I was able to, kind of expand on that and, get into all these different realms and chambers, and then kind of, okay, take, what I was capable of and focus it down. Plus was feeling in a very good place. So The Good Son, was in many ways, a breakthrough record for me.
mm.
And just, it was sharper. I had a different type of energy, off it. First of a Living Breed, I really really love a great deal as well. Um, I feel like for a lot of people, it was like the second. For a lot of people, got hip to me with The Good Son, and that was like the second album they knew. And it's an interesting thing. People talk about the sophomore jinx and stuff like that. I mean, first of a Living Breed is probably, commercially my highest, selling record. But
Mm.
as far as if you look at it, you know, I really feel like a lot of writing on there is as was some, there's nothing like Couple Bars. Um, like some of my best writing, Couple Bars and Not Really, and I really love that album a lot. Um, and yeah, there was a lot. I used to love performing a lot of those songs. What You Want was my jam, and there's a lot on there that's my jam. Mono and Stereo obviously had the had the Eclipse joint on there. We would do a lot of things, but I really like that album a lot. One thing I would say is I started to, I didn't have any vulgarity on The Good Sign, and I start moving back into some vulgarity. And I start moving back into some, it was a slow de-evolution, but I start to kind of loosen the reins on myself, um, as a person.
Mhm.
And I start to come through on First of a Living Breed, but still the jams though.
Did they do that to the wall, or was that Photoshop? Just I don't know if you want
That
to.
was that was yeah, that was Jeff Jank. He added that, so it wasn't really there.
Okay, that's dope though. Hallways was next.
Always,
As
yeah,
far
yeah,
as
yeah.
again, just this is just focusing on albums, not
Yeah,
necessarily
yeah. Hallways,
collaborations
I
and.
really liked as
Mhm.
well. Hallways is another record that Hallways I love. That artwork by Andrew Huffman. It was a photo, but he added all that.
It's dope.
All those colors and those
Mhm.
those visuals. But America the Beautiful is on Hallways, which in a lot of ways, has been arguably one of my most far-reaching songs. I guess at least nationally. You know what I mean? Um, when I think about that album, enough. I love the ending. Enough the way it closes with the slow. Stroll is on there. You know what I mean? And it really, I remember that album being really, really, one Village Voice rap record of the year that year. And I remember I remember I liked it, but I felt like this ain't no First of a Living Breed. You know what I
Mhm.
mean?
Mhm.
Um, but I definitely loved it. You know what I mean? But I was just at this point in time, I had definitely started to feel like, yo, whatever I do is gonna be fly. So I don't even really need to focus that much. And but I had some great beat. John Wayne had the Refugee beat on there and the American beat. Spinner, DJ Spinner, the 1 2 3. I mean, yeah, I like that album a lot. I was a little like I was very pleasantly surprised, with with the reception of that album. But there's a lot of immaturity on that album. Like you know, Grand Poopa talks about it, but then you got Personal Ad on there too. Like some silly stuff on there.
Hmm.
Yeah.
On First of the Living Breed, you said What You Want. Is that a nine like shout out or reference like at all?
Oh well, we actually had that at first, but we couldn't. Well, the what you want from me is the part what you want
Mm.
from me, what you want. We had the original version of that is a sample from of Nine saying what you want in that song,
Yeah, I
but
saw like a clip from like a concert or a show where they're doing it. I'm like, oh, okay, like that's like nine, but I get, yeah, okay.
I wonder if well, I mean, or maybe you would just able to recognize that it sounded like
Yeah, exactly.
okay,
Yep.
yeah, absolutely, absolutely. But then we had to take that out and use actual voices, Yeah.
So 2016, Kindness for
Kindness
Weakness.
for Weakness. I like this album. I love the artwork. Some of my favorite artwork. Um, I don't love the album because I really started to become a bit lazy. There's really fly production on it. I mean, the production dudes always carry their part of the bargain. And the thing, there's songs on here like Speak Truth is my jam. There's songs on here that are, you know, I really like Non-Believers, which is another mono and stereo, at the time he was calling himself. So it isn't to say that I don't like the jams, but when I listen to a song like Eyes, produced by Georgia Ann Muldrow, and I hear that beat, I listen to it now and I'm like, man, I could have taken that and I could have done something really magical with it. People dug the jam, the beat is fly and it's cool and everything,
Mhm.
but I was starting to get into a malaise, um, you know, and to be honest, I had I was touring a lot. I was growing a lot. I was, that it's a certain type of, reaching a certain, degree of, notoriety, as an independent artist, different opportunities, arise to be a corny person, let your corniness show. So I was focused more on really engaging in that type of thing. And, I was still writing all the time. And I would like writing was habitual for me, but I think my bar was lower than it is today.
Mm. Veins was next.
Veins was supposed to be an EP, and
Mm.
then was accidentally released on the wrong day. Um, got picked up as an LP, and there was or got reported as an LP, and then in damage control mode. Um, we went into damage control mode, like, oh, we meant to release it and it is an LP, and like, might as well, a couple of things went wrong there. Well, not wrong, nothing goes wrong, but a couple of things didn't go according to plan there as far as that. Um, because it came out on the release date changed, but it wound up getting released on one of the stream sites. So then anyway, to make a long story short, I really like that though, that record.
Mm.
But it was supposed to be an EP. So that's another thing. It was like, yo, I just want to write some verses and I got these, but I want to write some verses and it is an EP. It's it's 10 long verses, and sometimes a long verse is a song, but this I was like, and all these are 10 songs, um, but but I really like some of the music on there, some of the production on there. The Kev Brown Between the Clouds beat is probably one of my favorite beats I've ever rapped on still to this day.
Mm.
My boy Audible Doctor's on there. Mono and Stereo, of course, is on there too with Bamboo, which might have been the biggest joint off that. Um, as far as people gravitating towards it. Consumption, it's like consumption is a type of writing, like where that's where the bar should be at. Consumption, you know what I mean? Um, but I dig that. But it's kind of bugged even today. People regarding it as a LP. But I mean, I
Mm.
guess it's just it's not just a word though. But whatever.
Humble
Humble
Pie
Pie
with
with
E
Edom.
Don.
This was an EP, came out as an EP, and a really, a very magical record due in large part to Edom being a one of a kind. You know, there's no one like him on a production tip. There just isn't anyone even anywhere near close to him on a production tip, and he's a really brilliant guy. And yeah, and being able to rap over those soundscapes, you know, um, it just it made for some creativity. Jams like Grim Seasons and even jams like That Moment When, like um I don't know, it's just a frequency, a vibe that he's able to tap into. And then, having fun with him, of course, back and forth on the gut, rock and roll, Indian dance. It was a lot of fun. It actually when we did that record, doing that record was fun, and touring that record was fun. It started to be a time when I wasn't really having as much actual fun in my actual life. So it was good to have the outlet to get up with Edon and have some fun and make a record that was fun.
Mm, that's dope. Do you
That's
want me to skip this one?
Yeah, I
I've
don't
seen
like
you
that
grapple with this one before
I
in
don't like
interviews.
that one. The production is amazing. I feel mono and stereo, is amazing. Um, I don't like where I'm at. I don't like the ROMs. I don't like and there's one thing. I mean, I could look at a song like Yes Aya, and I'm not talking about the technical. I'm not talking about the technical aspect of the writing. I'm just talking
Right.
about all the
Where you were
nonsense that I'm out
headspace.
here saying. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Mhm.
There's a couple like noteworthy I appreciate. You know what I mean? I appreciate the last track. All right, I really like that track. Name was like I was in a dark place, and I remember when I wrote Name, it was like 2 days of like feeling good, like remembering how I actually felt.
Mhm.
But for the most part, when I find out I actually was speaking to somebody yesterday who their first exposure to me was Dusty, and I'm thinking, but it's part of the journey, so I ain't mad at it.
Mhm. Yeah, I think you said like there were certain tracks or your jams that you like, but overall, like it just wasn't really representative of
Yeah, the frequency,
kind of
it's
where you
just a
wanted to
low
be. It was
frequency.
a place
Yeah,
and time, and maybe not the headspace where you are now or in life. So,
it's a low frequency record.
don't feed the monster.
Don't Feed the Monster was the kind of the not even the response, but the realization and the oh snap, like I'm bugging all types of ways, you know what I mean? And I'm hurting all types of ways, and I'm moving in the wrong direction all types of ways. Um, I got to figure this out, I got to look like that. I got to be somber and figure out what's really going on and how to figure out how to not feed the monster anymore. I've been feeding the monster, like Dusty was a nice full fattened monster,
Mhm.
so Don't Feed the Monster was the thankfully, and you talked to me about um like I was dealing with health issues, I was dealing with personal issues, I was dealing with all types of stuff at the time of that. And I was dealing with insomnia even at the time that I wrote that, you know what I mean? And but you know, I was at sometimes at night I wouldn't be sleeping and it would be a nightmare. And but I could write, I would write, and that would be that silver lining that I was talking to you about earlier.
Mhm. Did they actually tag your forehead for this cover?
Nah, nah, nah. That's my boy Mitch just made it look real good. He's good with his graphics.
On production, it's Quell Chris for the whole thing.
Quelle Chris produced the whole thing.
How did y'all connect? I know like y'all have done a lot of stuff together.
Yeah, yeah. We had people in common. We were building for years actually. Um, Talking about doing stuff, and we had probably done some shows. He had really rocked with he had rocked my boy Fresh Daily a few times, was my boy, and Cav, who I've also been known for a long time. They rock a lot. And I was an appreciator of his stuff, and his rhymes, and like I think we were just mutual fans that just knew a lot of people in common. And we had talked about doing a record, but the truth is, you listen to Quelle's production, you know, I was never in the right space to really tap into that sound. A lot of it is kind of murky, kind of grim, you know what I mean? Um, it took the time to do it was Don't Feed the Monster.
Hmm. I can't sell these. This is mixtape, I guess technically, right? But I
This is a
put it on
mixtape.
here
Yeah,
because it
yeah,
kind of
yeah. Some
your
people
most
call
recent stuff.
mixtapes albums, and I'm mixtape. For me, a mixtape is, involves rapping. Like I don't have. If I put something out of all original music, that's an album. You know what I'm
Right.
saying?
Right.
If it's the proper length. But this is, I'm rapping over some Dilla beats on this. Like from Donut. Like I'm rapping over. This is a mixtape. It's a project of music, but it's not an album. But this was a breakthrough thing because this series has become one of the most fun things for me. Um, like I had kind of taught myself, just how to loop. You know what I mean? And I start just, I could rap over whatever I want now. You know what I mean? I'm writing all the time. I want to make fly things. That's what I want
Mhm.
to do. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? So I recognize a lot of these things are not, commercially viable in the same way other things are. But I finally had a bunch of jams that, I really love, and I just wanted to share them with people. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? Um, and I had a lot of fun doing that, and I've done one every year since then. You know?
Yeah, I mostly wanted to show it because, like I said, I knew it kind of leaded to stuff most recently, and I like the Gangster Doodle cover. So
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Big shout to Gangsta Doodles, who whipped up that cover and the cover for all the singles too.
mm.
Angelito, my boy Ace produced, and if like we're gonna start to catch this theme. It's been a big theme for me of late, even though Mono and Stereo doesn't rap, but Aesop Rock is an amazing rapper who
Mm.
also produces and
Mhm.
produced other. Quelle Chris is an amazing rapper who also produces.
Yeah,
Edon,
talk about
you know,
that. Yeah,
you know what I mean?
having
It's
a
like
certain
it's
ear for things, right?
yeah, yeah, yeah. It's
Also,
just
rapper and appreciation,
yeah.
maybe.
I've just picked up on that and I noticed that, and later on you're gonna get into more stuff, which sticks to that. Something about rappers that also produce.
Yeah,
But
you gotta connect with Diamond D then, right?
oh yeah, well
And
Diamond
Pete
D's
Rock.
got Diamond D. Well, yeah. Diamond D and P Rock. I guess that's a segue into where we're headed. But the Angelito joints,
Sorry, I'll go back.
no, all good. But big shout to my boy Ace and West Coast. I caught a crazy groove. You know what I'm saying? Cow's Milk. I caught a groove. Go Hard. One of my favorite beats of all time to rap over. So he really laced me up with that. Yeah.
hmm Are you still drinking cow's milk or not so much?
No, no, no. That's and Angelito is, Angelito is little angel. My name is Angel. The
Mm,
Tai G2 is the yin and yang symbol. So Angelito is a mixture of the Tai G2 and Angelito.
mm, mm,
And the thing about it is, in that album, Cow's Milk is followed by No Beef. Just to make this is a jug. Three, half of those tracks were I'm like in Dusty Land, and the other half were I'm in Go Hard Land. You know what
mhm,
I mean?
mhm, mhm.
So that's why we release it that way. Still Champion, Decca, great rapper, great producer. I will say that on this thing you're doing, I would have included There in Spirit, produced by Illingsworth, who is an amazing rapper and an amazing producer, and I think was in between Angelito and Still Champion, because I think Still Champ was 2022. But in between those was that Illingsworth record, which you know is has some of the most amazing beats I've ever rapped over. I mean, there's a track called "The Only Constant," which is one of the most beautiful beats I've ever rapped over.
Mm. Yeah, I
Still,
just based it on Discogs, and like I said, knowing limited time, I just kind of tried
yeah,
to
all
pick
good.
ones that were just
No,
focused
no,
on
yeah, I'm
you,
letting,
mostly
letting,
solo albums. But
letting folks know. Letting you. I mean, yeah, it's a solo album. I'm the only one rapping. Just like, I know Decca has a couple bars on Still Champ, but I just
was there physicals of the Illingsworth one?
yeah, the Ellensworth had vinyl, the Ellensworth
Okay,
got CDs, yeah, the whole shebang. But the internet be missing stuff all the
yeah,
time.
it might be people on Discogs maybe miscategorizing that as like a collaboration or something. Maybe
Yeah. But I mean, it was an EP, it wasn't a full length.
that
But
might be the difference there too.
yeah. But this Still Champion record is one of my favorite albums I've ever put out in my whole career. The beats are amazing from Decca. They're really fantastic. And I was in a really, really good place. Decca himself as an artist, I'm a big fan of. He's somebody who maintains a certain frequency. And I feel like that rubbed off on me. And I put together a record that I felt great about. I made a point of, writing jams like get yours, I was like, I'm only going to be positive. Like I really worked to maintain a positivity throughout this record. Um, and I really like the way it come out.
Who did the art?
My boy Mikey McManus, Mikey Making It Happen, did the artwork. And that's a real he does metal work. He's a sculptor and
Okay,
that
yeah,
does
that's
metal
dope.
work. And that is, yeah, the real one of that is super fly, just like the picture.
Hmm, that's dope. And I like the satellite video from this too as
Oh
well.
yeah, no doubt, no doubt. The satellite vid tag, I'm forgetting the name of the kid that done the vid. But I love that vid. I walked 30 miles for that vid.
Rich and Rich too. I put together.
Yeah, yeah, Rich and Rich too. Mono and Stereo now is his name. You know, previously have been LRTNC or we also didn't have Cohort Fertile Crescent on this, which Mono and Stereo was an EP. So maybe it is EPs. Was
Mhm.
an EP that at the time it was called Authentic or maybe LRTNCs has so many names. But Rich and Rich too are my most recent full length releases and produced entirely by Mono and Stereo and I love them very much. That artwork that you see is a collaboration between Luke Warmth, the art director at 30 Looks, as well as my sister Natalie Delvalar, who that's a mixture of painting and graphics, and they collaborated. The third Rich cover is really fly, fits in beautiful alongside those.
Mm.
Um, but yeah, I love when biology is such a fun jam to perform. I love Fine. I love Need a Woman. People is such a fun jam to perform. Um, we actually have Rich 2.5 is going to be coming out with some remixes before Rich 3. So you'll hear more about that soon. But yeah, both of those records mean a lot to me, particularly them being the first two Dirty Looks releases. That have gotten the full physical and digital treatment.
What was the name of the tour? Was it Rich
Uh,
related or Wild Rich or
yeah,
something?
this was called Wild Wild Rich, this
Okay.
last one. But we've been touring all year. I think we did the Still Rich. We did 25 dates um in from March, from late March to May early this year, and we were in Europe also, or maybe that was called this. But everything's been sort of. One of them was Still Rich. I can't remember which one. Wild Wild Rich is kind of Wild Wild West. We was over where people think of as the West.
Mhm.
We had another one, Rich for like all the tours have been tied. The tour names have been tied into Rich because you know I'm really having fun promoting these records, doing these songs live, and it is I people do it isn't no big announcement that there's a Rich 3 on the way. It isn't any big announcement that Rich 4 is halfway done. You know what I mean? Like this is an ongoing thing. Me and my brother Mono and Stereo, we have an amazing chemistry, and he has an amazing sound. So now that we've gotten this Rich ball rolling, it's not slowing anytime soon.
Mm. That's dope. Luke, I wanted to mention Luke Warmth. I really like what he's doing with all your stuff too.
Yeah, yeah, he's the best, man. This is the most recent mixtape to come out. There was one called "I Can't Sell These Either" in between the two that have been shown, um, and this just come out the other day.
Yeah, sorry, I should have put them both on here.
Nah, it's all good. It's all good. But we done some videos for this Alchemy. My boy Danny Sangra did an Alchemy video for this. Um, I love this. This, in a lot of ways, this is my favorite of the three mixtapes, only because I got better at chopping. So I was able to like chop some stuff that I couldn't even chop for the first couple. Like the Rocky joint, that's the first joint, or the I'm working on the next one, which I don't have the title for, but I just chopped up something that I couldn't have chopped before. But I really love Time to Go. I really love Alchemy. I really love the Luther joint, Brand New Day. Like I love these jams. I love the Sandman veteran, over the Tom Caruana beat.
What was the name of the one that you said? Actually, I can sell these or something like that. Like,
There
turns
was an
out I can.
EP. There's an EP out called Turns Out I Could Sell a Few of These After All.
Yeah.
And for that one, I thought she was segueing because I rapped over a Pete Rock beat for the second, or was the first? I think it was the second mixtape. I rapped over a Diamond D beat for the first mixtape. I rapped over. So I actually, I got permission from Pete. I got permission from D. I got permission from Quelle. I got permission from Dobutsu System, who did Alchemy. I got permission from another producer who prefers to remain unnamed to drop 5 of those tracks, on the stream sites, because they can't sell these joints. They're for name your price
Bandcamp.
on Bandcamp. You know what I mean? So the and it's great. People donate. It's really fantastic, for people to still support them. But I don't have the clearance to release them on, Spotify, Apple Music, or anything like that. But now an EP has come out. So a lot of people that generally use DSPs didn't even know about those mixtapes because they're only on Bandcamp. So now I got an EP with an intro that lets people know about the mixtapes.
Yeah, I think that came on shuffle over the weekend when I was listening, doing a deep dive. Appreciate the time. We ran over a little bit. I'm gonna play a couple videos. Once again, Homeboy Sandman. Be sure to check his Patreon and Bandcamp and dig deep into his catalog of music and videos. Appreciate it. Get your rest.
No doubt. Mordecai, appreciate you helping spread the word, and checking in, and keep up the good work. All right?
Thank you, sir.
Peace.
Peace.
Here is to your health. I'm not Homeboy Sandman, I am someone else who turned a corner cause in the world order needed help, who's known to make it so that frozen water doesn't melt. Born again, fostering a knowledge of the self, like everyone in Boston has a knowledge of the cells. Kicking in your dough, but on the low like I'm an elf. Now I'm in your house, reading every book that's on your shelf. Hit it! Well, the true and living in the flesh, who grew into a legend without hedging any bets, who said it for the babies and the ladies and the gents, then got up and jetted for you had a chance to interject. If you strive to come correct, then hit me up and maybe we'll connect. You'll wind up interviewing for the few and the select, but better pay your dues or you know who will come collect. And though it's entertaining, I am not an entertainer. When I'm not on the scene, I steam zucchini with a strainer. What I don't finish then goes in the fridge in a container. I'm not one of the rappers that'll do the Macarena. By now you may have noticed there is no one that is greater, but every single flow I kick I owe to the creator. And every day I separate the alpha from the beta, then wipe the perspiration from the brown. So if I don't see you now, I'll see you later.
Golden sunlight. Makes you feel powerful. I ain't being judgy, but my gig is pretty cush. Who tried to push me couldn't budge me. My rep is pretty solid, an array of moves I couldn't lose and wouldn't shoes from Holland. Tom and Dick and Harry's trying to tally points. Cut the dilly-dally in and meet me at the rally point. My fears too buried under faith to detect. I'm calm and kind, I get a different kind of respect. So it goes, you know me for them strong flows, long flowing robes. Supernaturally, internationally, God is actually looking after me. I put it to the test. I walked the path more often trod, but God was not impressed. I drive and text, but use my signal when I return to innocence. Me and my buddies, we touring planets, counting suns, we busy doing studies. Descendants of Jurassic Park, flying through outer space to newest station, playing classic rock. There ain't no culture shock, just endless celebration while I'm waiting for my heart to stop. Obsessed with cheating death, but acting as if taxes are a lock. Man, these people really ask a lot. I wanna be with my people. I wanna be with the people that know that money isn't real, that God determines whether we eat or not. I wanna be with the people that know they don't need to be afraid.
When it's time for action, I get done maxing, relaxing. Fools act up on the slide, think I'm gonna slide with no traction. I'm not watching the till, I'm just watching the film with closed caption. Boy saying visiting Mars and Mark Jackson. Does anybody need my help? You ain't gotta free me, I'll free myself. Anybody out of line, you can feel my belt. Anybody close by, you can hear my bell. So need a warrant, need a word, you can ring my bell. Calories keep me warm. Won't take seats and complete the form. You won't see me need no tech support. Stop and say sup, shuck ears of corn. I use the force. Just went through a very small, huge divorce. I'm the one to go against social norms. Teach you to ignore them, then pass the torch. As a young child, used to watch the snorks. I don't want to melt your face. That is my felt if you felt debased. These are my views, they are not debates. Careful, don't be scuffing up my white on white crimes. Doing nice things makes me smile. Genie in the lamp, don't cram my style. Know a lot of staff that was acting foul since I used to be an overactive child. Homeboy's back in town, nothing as disgusting as a black and mild. Never had a knack for the backing down. I rap red, yellow, white, black, and brown. I try to bottle that, how do that sound? Forget the mozzarella and the feta and the cheddar. Nothing's what it seems, everything's much better. How come you are doing what you're doing instead of all about you like the 21st letter? It is not worth it being well fed, being fed up. I don't take oxy. Homeboy Sandman got a lot of moxie. Stay humble or wind up in the hot seat. No hot dogging like Kobayashi. One day, me and the posse, sitting outside just talking philosophy. Making things count like Bela Lugosi. How to straight cook like Emeril Lagasse.